Hey guys, for this week's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to create your very own miniature R2D2. So before I teach you guys how to do that, you're going to want to print out this template, which is going to be under the Comic-Con Museum at Home website. As you guys are building along the way, you guys can reference some of these pictures on the first page just to make sure you build it correctly. But for those of you who have printed this template already, the first thing you're going to want to do is cut on all of the solid black lines. Make sure not to cut on any of the dotted lines because we're going to fold those later. So now that you guys have cut out all of your pieces, we're going to start taping them to your cardboard. So for example, I could take the top right here, and then I could cut out a piece of tape, and then I could tape it down to the cardboard. For the larger pieces like the body or the legs, you only need to put tape on the corners, so you don't need to waste your tape by putting it all across the entire piece of paper. But yeah, so just on the corners. Also, when you're taping the pieces onto the cardboard, make sure you leave a pretty good amount of room because you don't want to cut into the template. So if you see that top there, I'm gonna put like maybe 2 centimeters in between for space just in case. So now that you have cut out all of your pieces, the first thing you're going to want to do is keep all of the template pieces on, which is this paper piece. You don't want to take the paper pieces off because some of the pieces are fairly similar and we don't want to get them mixed up. Okay, so this is the fun part. This is where we're going to start building R2D2. So we're first going to start out with the body piece. And as you can tell, the body piece on this template right here, it's very curved, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to curve this body piece. So to make it easy to curve the body piece, you're going to want to come to the edge of the table, and then you're just going to line it up with the edge of the table, and then you're just going to start folding downwards, like this. Okay, you can pull it down, and when you do that, you end up getting this nice curved piece like this, and so in the end, when we glue it, it'll have that nice cylinder shape. Okay, so now that we have curved our body piece, we're gonna start gluing this thing. So we're gonna start using a hot glue gun, so please be careful because we don't want you guys burning yourself. So you're gonna pick any edge, doesn't really matter which one. You're gonna put a good amount of glue on there. And then you're gonna put the 2 edges together like this. So it creates that cylinder shape. Make sure to be patient at this part because for example, if I let go of this too early, it's just going to come apart like that. So you want to hold it until it dries up. So now we're going to start building the head. So as you can see, we have a bunch of circles labeled top. And of course, that's going to go on the top of his head. So the smaller the number, the larger the circle is. So for example, top 1 is obviously larger than top 11. And this is going to go on the bottom. So as you can see here, it's kind of like a pyramid of circles. So you're going to start with the bottom one all the way until you hit top 11. So you're just going to keep stacking them up. Now that you have finished putting all of the circles on, it should look like this. Now if you look at R2D2, you also see he has some circles on the bottom. And there's also some circles labeled bottom. So the next thing we're going to want to do is put these circles on the bottom the same way you did for the top. So now that you have glued on both the head and the bottom, it should look like this. So the last part is the legs. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is grab one of the leg pieces. And as you can see here, there's 3 different sizes. The bottom, the top, and the side. And if you look at the leg piece, there's a bottom, a top, and a side. So for example, you're gonna take the bottom piece. You're gonna glue on the bottom of the leg. And you're gonna place this piece on the bottom of his leg. It should look like that in the end. It should look like this in the end. And of course, if you look at him, there's 4 leg pieces, 2 for each side. So I'm gonna grab a second leg piece. And I'm gonna glue it on the opposite side of the bottom piece. And so in the end, the bottom piece should look like this. So now that you have glued on your bottom piece, you're gonna grab your side piece. And as you can see, there's little dotted lines on the side piece, and that's where you're gonna fold these. So it's really important to fold straight, because if you don't fold straight, it ends up being all crooked, and we don't want that because it'll mess up the leg piece. So if you look at the dotted line right here, we're gonna put our ruler up against that dotted line. Once you have it lined up, you're gonna grab the other side of the piece that you're trying to fold, and then you're just gonna pull it back. That way you have a nice bend. And you're gonna do that for all of the pieces. So now that you have bent both of your side pieces, we're gonna start gluing them on. So if you take one of the side pieces and put it on the side of the leg, it matches up pretty well. So it should match up like that. And we're gonna glue it on like that. So I'm gonna take my hot glue gun and I'm gonna glue on both sides of the leg. And then I'm gonna grab my side piece and I'm done. Make sure again to wait until the glue is dried, so maybe like 30-40 seconds. Also, when you're gluing this piece on, the part where the bottom piece and the side piece meet together, you're also gonna wanna glue right there because you don't want it opening. And in the end, it should look like that. And you're gonna do that for the other side as well. Okay, so now that you have glued on both of your side pieces, it should look like this. So the last piece is the top piece. So you're gonna grab one of the top pieces. And as you can see, the top of the leg piece is very curved. So just how we curved the body piece, we're gonna do the same thing to the top piece. So we're gonna bring it up to the edge of the table, and we're gonna pull down so we get that nice curved look. So now that you have curved that top piece, we're gonna start gluing it down. It's very difficult to glue it all in one motion, so we're gonna break it up into different segments. So for example, I'm gonna glue about 1/3 of the way on both sides, and I'm gonna glue it down. The reason why you don't wanna glue the entire piece at once is because if you do glue the entire piece at once, parts of it could dry out before you get to it, and so you don't want that because it'll end up messing up the leg piece. So you're just gonna continue that until you finish this leg piece. So now that you have finished one of the leg pieces, you're gonna do the same thing so you have 2 completed leg pieces. Okay, so now that you have finished both of the legs, all we have to do now is glue them on and you're done. So if you see on the body, there's a huge line where you had glued. We don't want that showing, and so we're gonna cover it up with the leg. So for example, I would place it right there. And also, to know where to place it, right where that body and the head meet each other, you're gonna wanna glue it right there. So if you actually look at this template, the arm is right in the middle of where the body and the head meet. So you should put a pretty good amount of glue on this because you want the legs to be fairly stable because it's gonna hold up the entire body. So I'm gonna put glue all along there. And then I'm gonna place the legs like that. You want to look at it from all angles just to make sure it's centered correctly. You don't want it to be all crooked. And once you're done gluing, it should look like that, and do that to both legs. Congratulations, you finished your very own miniature R2D2. Make sure to stay tuned for more videos because we're going to be posting a new template every week.